Well, good morning all you miniatures lovers on the internet. I'm Doc Eon. It is Monday, the 12th of October 2020, and I'm here to ramble about miniatures that I've painted up. For the first clip here, we're talking about finished minis. And so these three dudes from Star Hat, the eagle or something here with the book and the staff is done. So since I suck at freehand and there was a big blank shield, I used a decal. You might recognize the symbol. I painted over it a little bit to slightly disguise what it is, but I think most of you recognize it anyway. I thought it was appropriate. We have the little, probably Kenku rogue, I assume, with his daggers out. Big nasty knives, and we have the Beastman Barbarian or slash Bard with his axe. Dual purpose axe here, shouting something or singing perhaps. And I also finished the Froghemoth, this nasty little critter from Gale Force 9, which is a seldom used D&D monster, but I kind of like it. Now that I have the figure, I might... Whoops. That eye stalk, I broke it. Accident on camera. Well, it's easily fixed with a little glue. Gotta learn to look what I'm doing. But anyway, that's the sort of raw, unfiltered footage you get when you tune into Monday Miniatures Ramble. Let's quickly move on to works in progress, and I'll fix that off camera before I take the still pictures. I was kind of hoping to be done with this guy by now, but it took more time than I thought, and all I've done is the metallics. Well, not it's a lot of work, but I did something with this figure that I don't often do, which is print out reference. Actually, you can see in the background here I've got the pictures from the Reaper website with their studio paint job, or at least the published paint job. And I've tried to actually follow it as closely as I can, despite having a different technique, because if you look at their website, you'll see that it's painted in NMM. And I've gone with true metallics, because I wasn't going to do NMM. It takes way too long. And honestly, I don't think it looks as good in real life as it does in pictures. So I've tried to replicate their style, the scheme of painting, but with different paints and different techniques. And I'm pretty much done with the metallics, I think, unless watching this footage back shows me some detail I've missed. So it's just the body and the clothing, and the clothing is in the again on the Reaper website. Paint scheme is just one color. It's just a pale off-white linen or something. The body, for some reason, they painted most of the body a kind of brown, something like a mummified body would look, kind of desiccated and red-brown, but the face is painted skull white, I suppose because it is a skull. And interesting choice. We'll see. I guess, you know, there's a logic to it, because the head is a skull, while the rest of the body is clearly not a skeleton. So maybe there should be a difference. Then of course the base. I have a more advanced base than in this picture, as you can see, and it'll take a little time to paint that as well, but it's not terrible. It's just a graveyard base with some stone and some skulls. Now the other stuff I've been working on is these half-orcs, and basically I've just been doing the metallics as a side project while I've had the metallics out for the Lich. So they have some areas painted and some not, and but again, they're not that horribly complex figures. we'll get through them. Jumping back a little bit in time here to show you the kind of the midpoint of my prep for some of these models. Now I decided to put Sophie and her cauldron on separate bases. I did attach the wings before painting because there is a certain amount of clearance between the wings and the bodies, so you can get at everything. It's always easier to assemble before painting. Now for the cauldron, I built a little bit of a base here. Wanted to show you what it looks like, how shoddy it looks before priming. So these are some basing grit bits to represent a ring of rocks, and then there's bits of a cocktail stick that I've chopped up to represent logs. So I've built a campfire sort of thing, and I'm gonna place this on top of it. Very simple. These have just been glued onto some bigger bases because the provided integral bases are really tiny. Now I can see what's so Halloweeny about this. There's pumpkins lying around the base of this tree. There's an owl here, and there's a face in the tree. And there are a bunch of small branches here that I have to glue on to give it more three-dimensionality. But otherwise, simple spooky tree. Oh, it's got some runes carved in here. Good fun. Good fun. Let's skip back to today and see where
this is what they look like, fully primed and prepped. Just a very... this is a light gray primer because, yeah, I want to paint them carefully and not cover up too much with dark paint. Anyway, this is going to be a wash to bring out the detail, and, you know, on some of them at least. But, well, maybe I don't really need it. They're pretty legible and clear. Anyway, none of these are particularly difficult or complex. I think I have a good handle on how to paint them.
I'm afraid I just couldn't resist when I saw a place that had the remainder of these elemental evil minis, the sort of heroes and priests of the various cults. We got the fire, water, and earth, I believe. And I also picked up this guy, not because I have any immediate desire to run the Tomb of Annihilation. I just thought he looked cool. He's like like an undead serpent person, or Naga or something. I'm not sure what he's supposed to be. I'll have to read up on it. So, okay, I added 7 minis to the purchased pile this week. Of course, these 3 packs will go into the box where I have the rest of the related minis for whenever I decide to do that project. But this guy, I think I'll paint right away. Just because, you know, I bought him on a whim because he seemed like fun, so, you know, I gotta put my money where my mouth is. Or maybe put my paintbrush where my money is a better way of looking at it. While I'm at it, I pulled out a mini from my painted collection, namely this Reaper Giant Snake, that I thought seemed appropriate. If I'm going to paint one snake guy, I might paint another snake at the same time. This is a model I've actually painted once before. I painted it like a coral snake, you know, the red, white, black bands. At that time, it looked okay. It looks okay. It's kind of primitive now looking back on it. It was several years ago. So I'm going to see if I can come up with some other pattern this time. Maybe not exactly the same as he has. I mean, these dull colors must be, I think I don't know, the story here doesn't actually say, but he seems to be undead. Well, anyway, these 2, plus, of course, more Halloween stuff. This is the last of my stash of Halloween-themed minis. So, for next year, when October comes around, I'm going to have to scrounge around and see if I can find some more. But at the moment we have Elise the Witch, who is sitting on a pumpkin, kind of like, very similar to the Halloween Sophie, actually. But no wings and no cauldron. Just on the other hand, she has a broom. So you know she's a witch. We have the trick-or-treat mouselings. I painted the Easter mouselings previously. I think I'm going to try to get the Christmas mouselings in December. They're out of stock at the moment at Reaper, so hopefully they'll make some new ones. Anyway, this is also, one of them is a witch and the other is a ghost, I believe. And finally, Rot Patch the Pumpkin Golem, who is constructed by a number of pumpkins and vines, and has a kind of scythe, or I don't know. This thing, it doesn't actually look like an agricultural implement. It doesn't really look like anything from reality, but it's kind of nasty looking. So yeah, this will be fun to paint up. And this guy, of course, he has basically no integral base, and this thing is very narrow, so I'm gonna have to build a base for him of some kind. The others can make do with just basic bases, very simple ones, but this one I'll have to think about how to make something for him. Anyway, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 projects to start up for next Monday. So that was this week's episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Click like, subscribe, comment, share it, and above all, be back here next week on Monday. Same time of week, same channel, and the same Dakian. But for now, I'm signing off.